Chapter 7. The next morning, I woke up really tired. I hadn't been able to fall asleep until pretty late, and the baby woke up soon after. He also woke up a few other times, including at 6 in the morning. I put him to sleep, and leaving him in the cot, I took the slow trek down the stairs again to get something to eat, much to the annoyance of Janine, who seemed to have gotten up extra early to get me breakfast. This is not a threat, but if you come down here in the next 2 weeks, I'll kill you. I'll make sure you have all you need to keep you for the day upstairs before I go to work. And Jamie will check in every once in a while when I'm at work. Okay? All right, I conceded. It's a little hard to get down the stairs anyway. I just don't want to pressure you too much. I'm going to need a little help for the first couple of weeks. Could you make a few calls for me? Just to help with the washing and such like till I get back on my feet. What do you think godmothers are for? Girl, I've got you covered. Save that cash for when you get back to Jamaica, she said. Come on, you're working full time. How can you manage all that? No trouble at all. I insist, she replied. Well, I guess that's the end of that then. When you insist on something, no one can change your mind, I said, giving up with a sigh. I felt like such a bother. Anyway, the baby has been here for 1 day, and already there are signs of improvement. I guess you'll be up early as of now. Don't remind me. That is not a fun thought, I said, yawning for what seemed like the 50th time. Thanks for the moral support through the night. I really needed that, being a first-time mom and all. Yep, my pleasure, she sang. And just remember to sleep when the baby sleeps, Janine said. She went outside to check on her new little garden patch as I finished breakfast and tried to muster the strength I'd need to get back up the stairs. When she came back into the kitchen, her face looked somewhat solemn. Miguel is here, she said. I remember, I said. He's in his cot. He's the reason I'm up so early, remember? You have a visitor. Miguel is here, she repeated. I found him trying to make up his mind whether to knock or not. For a moment, I was void of emotions. I didn't know what to feel. Should I be angry? Should I be happy? I was a torrent of mixed feeling. I had to sit down for a while. How did he know where to find me? How did he get here? What is he doing here? I asked in one breath. I think you should ask him, she said softly. He's waiting for you out in the lobby. Are you ready to see him? When I didn't answer, she said, I'll take him to the living room while you get yourself together. This was not at all what I had expected. What was I going to do? What was I going to say? I slowly walked toward the living room, trying to think of the first words to say. When I got to the living room, Miguel was standing with his back turned to me, gazing out the window. I cleared my throat because I couldn't think of any other way of getting his attention. Janine was there. Obviously, she was not about to leave me alone with him. Neither would I have let her. Hi, Marsh, he said, calling me by my pet name when he turned around. I didn't answer, not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't find anything to say. Marsh, I just want you to know that I'm absolutely sorry for what I did. I don't know what got into me. I've tried to justify it by saying it was the mood of the night, but I can't. The fact remains, I was wrong and I admit it. All of a sudden, a certain rage that I had not felt for a long time came rushing back. How could you? I said in a total rage. You, more than anyone else in the world, knew how important my virginity was to me. How could you take that away from me? Marcia, I'm sorry. That's all I can say, he replied softly, his head down. You destroyed everything I have worked so hard to build for myself, I said, tears now running down my face. Janine came to my aid, but pushing her away, I ran up to him and slapped him in the face, then stood by the window crying. Coming toward me, he said, I'm sorry. If you give me the chance, I'll make it up to you however I can, Miguel said. As he came closer, I stepped back. Don't come near me, I screamed. Janine made another effort to stand between us, and this time I let her. He stopped. Are you scared of me, Marcia? He asked so softly, I could hardly hear him. The look on his face was pure anguish. Holding my head down, I did not reply. He took another step closer, and I stepped back again. Janine stepped forward, barring him. Don't go any closer, she said. I looked at him from across the room. Then I noticed something I hadn't noticed before. He looked pale. He had lost weight, and his eyes were sunken. My heart melted instantly. I took a step closer and paused. The truth, I was a bit scared of him. As a matter of fact, I had been a bit scared of all males ever since the incident. Out of love, I took another step closer. He seemed a bit more mature in his facial features. I took yet another step. When Janine stepped aside, I took it as a sign of her approval, even though she still had a look of disgust on her face. I ran to him, embracing him with all the strength I could muster. This time, the tears I cried were tears of joy. This was the first time I actually saw Miguel cry in all the years I knew him. I have missed you so much, he said. I missed you too. I tried calling twice yesterday and couldn't get to you, I complained. I thought you were out with some other girl, that you didn't love me anymore, I added with my head hung low. How could you think that? He asked, wiping the tears from his face gently with his thumb. All I've done is thought of you and how I'm going to help you get over this and trust me once again. Ever since you left, I've been saving for a therapist for you and anything else you may need. I didn't know where you were, but I knew I had to find out. How did you find out, by the way? I asked. I finally forced it out of Molly. Don't hate her, please. I really went to extremes, he said. Oh, that's why she sounded so down when I spoke to her last night, I said, finally figuring out what was bothering my friend. I smiled. I was actually elated that she had told him of my whereabouts. Don't worry about that. I couldn't hate her even if I tried. I looked him over thoroughly. Is this what I've done to you? I asked, touching his face with a worried look. No, that's what I did to myself, he answered. I can stop worrying a bit now that I've found you. Listen to you, Janine fumed suddenly. After all that you've been through, that's all you have to say? Man, I've always told you that you were naive and too forgiving. But I'm telling you, you surprise me every day. You have officially reached new heights of naivety and forgiveness. Janine, don't be mad. You just don't know how much I've missed him. I've had 8.5 months to be mad at him. No, I'm just glad he's here. I'll have all the time in the world to be mad at him after this, I said, pleading for understanding, though I couldn't actually look her in the eyes. Well, since I know you aren't going to say anything to him, I might as well get my own feelings out. How dare you touch her, she screamed. Look at her. She's so innocent and loving that she can barely fight back for herself. How could you hurt her like that? Now she can't even concentrate on buying her house or car or think about all the other dreams she wanted to reach without the limitations of having to. She broke off, not wanting to let the cat out of the bag. I wish I could let you pay for this. Janine, I'm sorry. I don't know how to get it across to you that I'm really sorry. This has affected me too, you know. I stopped eating after Marcia left. I went into severe depression and ended up in the hospital because of an eating disorder I developed. I can't enter a church building without feeling condemned, and I can't look my siblings in the face. I was supposed to be an example to them, you know. He broke off mid-sentence as he started to cry. This time, surprisingly, it was Janine that did the comforting. I was so overcome by sorrow that all I could do was to sit there and repeat, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I should have called you earlier. It's all my fault, I said with my face buried in my hands. I could have let you die. What would I have done? I cried. No, don't cry. I deserved every bit of it, Miguel said, coming over to hug me. At that time, the baby started to cry. I quickly let go of Miguel. I had forgotten for a while that I still hadn't told him about his son. I grabbed hold of Janine's hand and walked as swiftly as I could to the direction of the stairs, trying to regain my composure. I'll soon be back, I said over my shoulder. We both went to get the baby. I drew a deep breath as I fed him. I wondered how Miguel would react to the news of his son. I said a silent prayer that God would give him the strength to take it in stride. He must be wondering what's taking so long, I said to Janine. Could you tell him for me that I'll be down in a minute? And to thank you. I don't know what I would have done without you, I said, squeezing her hand. You're welcome, sweetie, she replied. After feeding and burping him, I took the baby downstairs for his debut with his father. There's someone I'd like you to meet, I said as I entered the living room. Do you want me to stay, Marsh? Janine asked. I think I'll be okay from here. Thank you so much for your support, I said, more confident of the situation. I'll be in the kitchen if you need me, she said. And thanks for letting me in, Miguel said. Yep, she said in a playful but solemn manner. You never told me Janine had a baby, he said as she left. That's because she doesn't. This is your son, Miguel Jr. Whoa, I did all that? He said, sitting down. He cried uncontrollably. He looked like he could barely come to grips with the reality. He's the son you've always wanted. When was he born, Marcia? Day before yesterday. He's 2 days old, I replied. I'm sorry I wasn't there with you, he said, looking at the baby, shame written all over his face. You had to go through it all alone, and I wasn't even there for the birth of my child. I'm sorry. I wasn't all alone. Janine and Jamie from the crisis center were there with me, I said softly. The crisis center? He said gruffly. How can I forgive myself for this? He said, looking at the floor. What kind of a man am I? A human, and I forgive you, I said to convince myself as well as him. Thank you. You don't know how much that means to me. Looking down at the baby, he said, My son. Taking him in his arms, he kissed his soft cheeks tenderly. I knew from that moment that they would never be parted. Well, you can forget about therapy. I've had enough here. I'm okay now. Just getting ready to go home in a few weeks. As soon as the baby has gotten his first shot, I said. And everything is ready for him back home by all accounts. I'm really sorry for not telling you earlier. I'm really sorry for not allowing you to be there for his birth. Don't be, he said. I don't even deserve to be seeing him. I am so sorry. You can stop apologizing now, Miguel. I got your point 30 apologies ago. Sorry, he said again. We both burst into laughter. I was starting to feel like my old self again. Miguel's being there made me feel surprisingly better. He's as handsome as his father, he said proudly. You're so conceited, I said, rolling my eyes. And you're so beautiful, he said, catching me off guard. Thank you. I need to take off some weight, though. I know you are quite the health person. For all I know, you're feeding the baby on non-fat breast milk. I'll be here for the next few weeks, if you'd let me. I'll help you get back into shape and I'll continue when we get back to Jamaica. Sure, I said. I'd appreciate that. Break it up, you hopeless lovebirds, Janine said, entering the room with a tray of goodies. Thank you, Mother Hen, I said, doing a little curtsy. You're most welcome, she said in an English accent. You guys are still at it? You never cease to amaze me with your little games, Miguel said, smiling. Thank you, Janine. Marcia, thank you for the chance to father my child. You are welcome. No one else I'd rather be the father of my child, I said, giving him a small kiss on the cheek, catching him off guard at this time. Aren't we sweet? Janine said sarcastically. I'm going to find someone to make you jealous with, don't worry. Speaking of that, Miguel interrupted. Remember Peter, the guy you had a relationship with before you left Jamaica? He's been asking about you a lot lately. Haven't you guys kept in touch? Yes, she said, blushing. I had to limit him to letters because I didn't think I could handle the pressure of a relationship at the time. I still get a letter from him every week. Yeah, you ought to see her face when that mailman comes around. I think even the mailman's got a hunch on the situation. She doesn't talk about him regularly, but I know her well enough to read her little signals. And since I've been teasing her about him, I think she's been coming around a little. I even got a peek of her going through the whole pile the other day. I informed like a 4-year-old who couldn't keep her mouth shut. You saw that, you little prick? She said, punching me on the shoulder. Yep, I saw that silly smile too, I added. Peter was the only guy Janine ever let close, and the only one, outside of her family, myself and Miguel, that she had told about the incident in full detail. I felt sorry for the young fellow though, because even though she let him in on that secret, she kept him at bay most of the time, to protect her heart. I don't know who she thought she was fooling though. We all knew that she was still crazy over him. I know, he said, pulling me back to reality. I was just pulling her legs. Poor guy is suffering like a soldier in the World War, Miguel said. Just then his phone rang. Hello? He answered. Uh-huh, he said, then hung up. I could tell by the look in his eyes that he was up to something. There's someone to see me outside, he said to Janine, and winked at me. Do you mind letting him in? He drove me here. I told him he could drive by when he thought the coast was relatively clear, he said a bit shyly. A few seconds later, a scream came from the direction of the front door, and then Janine came in with Peter in tow. You, she said, pointing to Miguel. Yes, he replied innocently as though he had nothing to do with it. We became roommates shortly after you left, Marcia, Peter said. As soon as Miguel told me you were with Janine, I packed my bags and headed here with him to surprise her. He looked lovingly into her eyes. Is there a bed and breakfast close by where they could stay, Janine? I asked hopefully. Well, as I mentioned to you some time ago, I was flipping a house before you got here. Of course, you stalled the process because we've been having so much fun. We both chuckled because we both had suffered guilt in that first month. She continued, well, I think we should give the guys a tour and see if they would be comfortable staying in an incomplete dwelling. I mean, we have made some progress, but only one room and bath are complete. Then there's the issue of furniture. We'd have to get a couple of blow up beds or something and take some stuff there from here. But it could work. It'd save you guys some money, and Daddy here could be close to his son for the duration. I was really hoping you would suggest that, I squealed excitedly. Is that okay with you guys? That's more than we could ask or hope for. Our hotel fee is enormous. Not that I'm complaining, Miguel said, but that would be most welcome. I've missed you, Peter said, turning on the charm. At that time, I knew they had forgotten that anyone else was in the room. Oh, I teased, somebody's in love. Come on, Miguel, let's take our little family outside and give them some privacy to catch up on old times. I guess he can meet little Junior later. Miguel and I both left a slightly protesting and shy Janine in the living room to reacquaint herself with her old boyfriend. That boy is so dedicated to her, I said, feeling as though I was walking on cloud nine. I'm so happy for her. She deserves someone as sweet as him. Yeah, and you deserve someone better than me. I promise I'll be even more dedicated than Peter, no matter how impossible that may seem. Listen, I said, turning to him. I don't want to hear any more downgrading statements or negative words, or even a reference to what happened, if it is not going to help someone. What happened, happened. It is in the past now. Yes, I was angry with you, and from time to time, the hurt may come back, but let me make myself clear. What I feel right now, in terms of affection for you and absolute joy that I'm around you, nothing can be compared to that, not even the hurt and anger that I had. Baby, if I never knew why we were together for 6 years, I'd know now. I really pray and hope that it doesn't take bad things for me to remember just how special you are in the future. I love you, he replied in a deep, genuine manner, which I had come to love and admire. You're going to be the best father ever, I said softly with a twinkle in my eyes. In that moment, a part of me healed. The part that was so worried about going the parenting road alone. The fears of the future and being enough for my baby massively decreased. As if to say he was happy with our recommitment to each other, the baby gave us his first beautiful smile. I was so happy. I let out a gleeful little scream. That's my boy, Miguel said with a pride that I knew would grow greater with each passing moment. I felt so complete. I gave the baby a quick kiss as we sat in the shade by the pool. I should call Molly before she worries herself to death. I think I should call Jamie too, to tell her of the new happenings. She'll be happy to hear how well everything has worked out, I said thoughtfully. Yes, you should, Miguel responded. But right now, I just want to enjoy my little family for a while. Family, I thought to myself with a smile. I liked the sound of that. Chapter 8. Miguel and I had a few arguments as time progressed, but he was so sweet that he allowed me to let it all out. He never answered with a rough tone or statement. That made me feel so guilty. As time went on, though, the arguments grew fewer and fewer. He and I exercised at 6 in the morning and Janine and Peter at 7. We took turns to babysit. Miguel was so attentive to the baby and I that sometimes I felt guilty, like he was trying constantly to make up for what he had done. He stayed as late as possible at night so he could help me with everything that needed to be done. Once, when the baby had a really bad gripe, he hurried over and stayed up the entire night to make sure that he had everything he needed and was as comfortable as possible. He even let the baby sleep on his chest for most of the night when he was fussing. Janine and Peter had stayed for most of the night as well. Of course, being a first-time mother, I was happy that I had people to go through it with. It made the entire process a whole lot easier. Miguel even did all the washing for both me and the baby until I was able to wash her myself. And he still insisted that he'd wash the baby's clothes. I think he would still be washing mine if I hadn't insisted that I could manage on my own. Every day, Miguel spent an enormous amount of time taking care of the baby so that I could relax and catch up on sleep. He even took me to a spa, sitting in the waiting area while I had my treatment. He knew that I would have been worried with the baby out of my sight for too long. I could not bear to stay away from him for very long. Say A, B, C, Miguel said to the 3-week-old baby. You're crazy, you know that? I said to him. No matter how smart our son is, there's no way he's going to be able to say his ABCs at 3 weeks. The baby's eyes shone brightly, and he smiled as though laughing at his father. Marcia, sweetheart, would you mind greatly if we went out alone tonight? Just the two of us, Miguel asked. He added hesitantly, and the baby, I'd like to take you out alone this time. I don't think so. Where are we going? I replied. You just have to wait and see, he said, smiling with a mischievous twinkle in his eyes. I rather like the sound of that. Okay, but that means I'll have to go shopping. Wonder if Janine's busy during her lunchtime today, I said. Give her a call, Peter said quickly. He had just come outside with some drinks. Okay, Uncle Peter, you know her schedule even better than I do, and you seem very positive. If you could rip my son out of his dad's arms for a while, I'd be grateful. I don't want him to become a daddy-holic, I said, going inside. Janine said yes before I even finished asking her the question. I told Miguel and Peter that I was going to get ready and went upstairs. I just hoped I'd find a dress that would look really nice in spite of the extra pounds. I fed the baby and left to meet Janine at what had become my favorite mall. Girl, I've got just a dress for you, she said as soon as I saw her. She took me into a store, and sure enough, I loved what I saw. It was black, my favorite. The top had a cut and design which made my tummy look a lot flatter than it really was. And the bottom cascaded in a shimmer of girl glory. The cut of the top was particularly cute. I knew I had to take it. Come get your nails done, girl, Janine said enthusiastically. I didn't plan to, and I want to get home as soon as possible, I protested. Relax. The guys got it covered. I'll call them if it will make you feel better, she said, dialing home. Hey, Miguel, tell Marcia you've got the babysitting thing covered for the next 45 minutes. She's rushing home and doesn't want to go get her nails polished. Hey, baby, I said, taking the phone. You guys okay over there all by your lonesome selves? Yes, baby girl. And you left enough milk to feed all three of us, and the manual you left was very precise. Knock yourself out and enjoy every minute of it, okay? Okay, I said, still kind of worried. I hope he doesn't forget me by the time I get back. Bye. All right, Janine, let's go. I still want to get home as soon as possible. It's just a polish, and my girl said she could fit you in as soon as you get there. When we got to the shop, Janine told the hairdresser to give me a quick pin-up as well. She told her I was going out on my first real date in 9 months. Janine, I really need to get home soon, I said. I heard what Miguel said. He said knock yourself out. But the hair won't take longer than the nails, and they'll both work at the same time. You'll be out of here in no time. Don't you have to go back to work soon? I said, looking for a suitable excuse. Nah, ask for extra time. I'll make it up tomorrow. I knew you'd want to just rush this, she said. I finally conceded defeat and let them have their way. Thankfully, the style chosen didn't require spending time under the dryer, so it didn't take very long. When I left the parlor, I could hardly recognize myself. It had been quite a while since I had paid so much attention to myself. 10 months to be exact. Everything had taken just over an hour, inclusive of fitting the dress. I was relieved that I could return to my son so soon. Girl, you look so fine. I'm gonna call Peter and let him sneak you in the back way. Anything you want, you ask him. You want the baby, you call him, okay? Miguel is going to be so blown away when he sees you, Janine quipped. As she went back to work and I went back to home, a feeling of excitement crept over me. It felt like old times again. Me and Miguel dating again. I snuck upstairs with the help of Peter. Wow, he said when he saw me. I sure wish I was the lucky man. You look so beautiful. Don't worry. Janine's got a surprise for you too, I said, blushing. He treated me like a queen all day. Everything I wanted, he got it for me. And for the first time since Miguel's arrival, I spent 4 hours with Miguel Jr., all alone. It's a crime to keep me away from my son for so long, he'd said from outside the door. But I let you get away with it just this once. I just laughed at him. Peter had appreciated the fact that Miguel was not otherwise occupied, I'm sure. He had a surprise for Janine too. He was in the middle of preparing a candlelight dinner for her, with a special surprise at the end. He claimed that he was trying to prepare Miguel to be the best husband ever by taking him into the kitchen and using him to create the perfect romantic setting for his home date. Janine got home a little later than usual because of some extra work she couldn't escape, so I was locked up in my room a little longer than anticipated. Peter didn't seem to mind though, as he was able to put in a little extra. As soon as she came, she ran right upstairs to inspect me and make sure that I was perfect for our date. Peter had no worries about hiding the surprise because she totally ignored him for some reason. Go get washed up, I said to her after her fussing was almost over. I'll have your clothes ready for you when you get out. What clothes? I'm not the one going anywhere. You should be getting downstairs to Miguel, she said. Don't worry about Miguel. Go have a bath. As a matter of fact, use my bath. No, mademoiselle, I said, shoving her gently towards the bathroom. Peter had given me the dress he had purchased for her and a beautiful flower for her hair. I spread it on the bed and laid out the slipper that he had picked out for her to wear. Come on, get dressed, I said with excitement as she got out of the shower. What's this? She asked. This dress is beautiful. Where did you get it? We didn't buy it at the mall today. Nope. Peter got it for you. Now enough of the questions. Let me help you get into it, I replied. You look gorgeous, I said as she tucked the flower behind her hair. And that hairstyle you chose today to surprise Peter goes perfectly with the dress. And so do you, she said. She had obviously started feeling excited too. This feels like old time. Let's go. We descended the stairs together with the baby. Both Peter and Miguel were waiting for us, flowers in hand. I'm having trouble deciding who's lovelier, Miguel said. That's easy, Peter replied. None of them. They are both beautiful gems, and thank God they both belong to us. I taught you well, Miguel replied smugly as we blushed. And you both are taking the baby. Why didn't you leave him with us? Janine complained. Yes, Peter added in agreement. And interfere with the evening? No way, I said. That's right. And I haven't seen little man in over 4 hours, Miguel added. You're an addict. Admit it. Say it. My name is Miguel MacDonald and I'm a babyholic, Janine said. Look who's talking, Peter exclaimed. Everybody laughed as Janine took Miguel Jr. from Miguel Sr. and gave him a huge goodbye kiss. Bye, we all chimed together. Miguel took me to a restaurant on a roof under the open sky. It happened to be a starry full moon night, so it was really beautiful, and the decor was simple and elegant. How did you find this place? I asked. Looked it up on the internet before I came, he responded. You like it? I love it. You really planned to bowl me over, didn't you? Yes, and I haven't quite started yet, he said. Oh, I'm looking forward to this, I said. We had our appetizer and main course. Miguel had arranged for me to be serenaded during that time. It was our favorite song, and it was a very sweet gesture on his part. The real surprise, however, came during dessert. I had ordered a slice of cheesecake. When I got it, however, I noticed something shine sticking out. What's this? There's something in my cake, I said. Look, Miguel, I said, cutting into the cake to see what it was. My digging proved rewarding. I said, stuttering. Miguel, what's this? I said with eyes wide open. He took the item from me and put it on a napkin to clean it off. When he had cleaned it off properly, he went down on one knee and said, It's a ring, Marsh. I know I don't deserve the pleasure of this honor, but will you be my wife, Marcia? Stay with me forever and always. Will you marry me? Are you serious? I asked, not believing that this was happening so suddenly. By now, all the patrons of the restaurant had eyes on us and were cheering him on. Woohoo! Yes! Say yes! Yes, I love you with all my heart, and my life is totally miserable without you. I want you to be by my side always, and I want us to raise our son together, and your football team, I finished with a laugh. Yes, of course I will. There's absolutely no way I can love anyone the way I love you. Yes, I'll marry you, I said. All right, you go, girl, and congratulations, the other patrons shouted as we stood and had a long embrace. Now I know why Peter and Janine were behaving so strangely today. You two planned this together. I'm going to call Janine and see if Peter popped the question yet. I love you, baby. Mwah, I said, blowing him a kiss across the table. Did you hear that, JR? Mommy's gonna be a wife. Finally! I couldn't stop the huge grin that was on my face. I dialed Janine's cell as I admired the beautiful ring now on my finger. Hey, baby girl. How's your romantic evening coming on? I asked, trying to ensure that I didn't spoil the surprise. Girl, you'd never guess. Peter just proposed. I'm getting married, she screamed into the phone. I know. Miguel just proposed too, I said. I know, she replied. Girl, we can have a double wedding in Jamaica and invite all our friends. It would be huge. Yeah, that sounds great. We'll start planning as soon as I get home. Get back to your fiancé. Saying that word felt so funny now that I was engaged. Man, if I had doubts that you were still in love with me, I'd lose them now. You're beaming. Or is it the thought of planning a double wedding? Miguel said, raising his brow mischievously. Could be, I mused teasingly. Oh, I can't wait to get home, I said, elated. I felt like I was walking on cloud nine, or 29 for that matter. Hey, don't go ignoring your fiancé now, Miguel said from across the table. Oh, you can stay for later, I said, teasing him. I love you, I love you, I love you. Oh, stop. You're making me blush, he said, all girly as I burst into laughter.